These are notes 3.5 for U.S. history class. These cover the atomic bomb and the Manhattan Project. So the Manhattan Project, which is the U.S. project that's going to develop the atomic bomb, really comes out of fear. So the U.S. had information from people like Albert Einstein and other scientists who said that Germany was working to develop an atomic bomb. We knew that they were doing this during the war in the 1930s. And so we were really afraid Hitler was going to get an atomic bomb. And Germany with an atomic bomb would be very dangerous for the rest of the world. And if you give some consideration to what Hitler was able to do without having made an atomic bomb, you really can think about what would Nazi Germany have done with this. So we were very concerned about that. And some of this information comes from people like Albert Einstein. So Einstein had emigrated from Germany. Remember, he was a German Jew who ended up coming to the U.S. to escape the Nazis in the 30s. And he knew that some of this research was happening. He knew this was being discussed in Germany. And although Einstein was a pacifist, in 1939 he signed a letter from his one of his associates, one of the other scientists, because the other scientist was unable to get Franklin Roosevelt to really listen to him when he was saying, like, this is a problem, we need to be doing this nuclear research. So Einstein signed the letter that his friend wrote that said, yes, we need to do this. And because Einstein was so well respected during this time, Roosevelt listened to Einstein and started to look into creating a group to develop an atomic bomb, or at least atomic capabilities in the U.S. And this group that Roosevelt founded and funded, and it was a secret group, so it was a secret development plan, became known as the Manhattan Project. So the code name for the project, so no one else knew we were working on it, was the Manhattan Project. And the Manhattan Project does not have Albert Einstein in it. It is run by Dr. J. Robert Oppenheimer. He is the head of the research, and they are really researching atomic weaponry and how to create an atomic bomb. That's the purpose of the Manhattan Project. So here you see Einstein talking to Oppenheimer, that's who the other man in the picture is. And so they continued to work closely, but Einstein was not interested in developing weaponry and using physics to create this atomic bomb, so he was not part of the project. So the U.S. worked very hard, remember this starts in 1939, to develop the atomic bomb so we could have a bomb before Germany did. So if Germany threatened us with an atomic bomb, we could say we have one too, and that would hopefully keep them from using one. So the U.S. was able to develop an atomic bomb by 1945. However, it doesn't have any kind of impact on the fight in Europe. So we did this because we were afraid Germany would get it. Well, Germany we defeated before we ever had to use the atomic bomb. So then the atomic bomb was developed, FDR had died and Truman had taken over, and in this time, President Truman made the decision to drop the atomic bomb in Japan. So I will talk more about the decision to drop the bomb and things like that in the next set of notes, but you should know that Hiroshima, Hiroshima, and Nagasaki are the only two instances where an atomic bomb has ever been used in wartime. So it's the only times it's been used, and the U.S. is the one who dropped them. We dropped two bombs. Hiroshima was the first on August 6, 1945, Nagasaki, August 9, 1945, and this was done to try to end the war in the Pacific, the war against Japan. So this was done to try to save lives, to save money, to end the war quicker, but we do need to remember that it's only been used, again, twice, and they were within days of each other, in World War II, and now we have a lot more countries with nuclear capabilities, but no one else has ever used one in war. So you need to understand the atomic bomb was used. It was used by the U.S. to end the Pacific War, and that the Manhattan Project created that. Some of those important people like Einstein, Oppenheimer, and Truman. And that's really what you need to take away from these notes. So I know they're very short, but this is actually the end of notes 3.5. There's a lot more detail in 3.6, and we use the atomic bomb, so we'll actually talk about those more in the next set of notes.